Ladies and gentlemen, I am finally back after a brief hiatus. I will be locked in for the NBA offseason along with covering the NFL and the draft coming up soon. So, if you guys want to stay tuned for all the new videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. Let's kick it off on the Eastern Conference side, starting with that 7th and 8th matchup. We have the Philadelphia 76ers and the Orlando Magic. This matchup is intriguing because on paper, I believe it could go either way. Coming into the season, we all expected Orlando to be significantly better. However, they have fallen short of expectations and underachieved. Meanwhile, in Philly, expectations were not as high. To be honest with you, folks were not sure what to expect from the 76ers. However, they have great potential. From the promising start of VJ's career to Tyrese Maxey taking the next step in his career and coming off of a suspension, Paul George has looked like the Paul George Philadelphia expected to get when they made the deal for him. Although Joel Embiid has been in and out of the lineup, and when he was playing, he didn't look like the MVP version of himself, I am still going to take the 76ers to win this game. Like I mentioned before, Tyrese Maxey, I trust him to elevate and carry this team on his back. I wouldn't be surprised if he gives the Orlando Magic a 30 ball. But also keep in mind, PG has raised his level of play. With those two pieces offensively, they have enough firepower and they have enough pieces on this team, along with great coaching from Nick Nurse, to figure out the rest. And on the other side, the Magic have been so underwhelming this year. I mentioned with the 76ers, they have enough offensive firepower. That is the complete opposite in Orlando. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the best version of Paulo. I think I could trust Desmond Bane to give me enough from the perimeter. But outside of those two options, I'm not entirely sure if the rest of the team is going to be ready to go on Tuesday night. Moving over to the Hornets and Heat 9 and 10 matchup, I'm rolling with the Charlotte Hornets. Going back to around January, this Hornets team has looked very good. Offensively, I love the trio of LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Concanipo. I believe that will be too much for the Miami Heat. With that experience on the other side for Miami, I'm not entirely sure it's going to make a difference here because they've been underachievers for a majority of the year. I know they had the hot start to open up the season, and Bam had that historic performance. But outside of that, the Heat have been too up and down, and I believe in a one-game scenario, that's not ideal. And I'm going to lean with what I've seen in a larger sample size. The Charlotte Hornets, I believe they can get the job done, and expect the Miami Heat to have a long offseason where they regroup and figure out what's next for this organization and get into that winner-take-all matchup on Friday night. If I'm correct, it will be the Orlando Magic versus the Charlotte Hornets. If that is the case, I'm rocking with the Hornets. I'm a believer in what they have going. There's something special that is brewing in Charlotte. Would I be surprised if they fall short this year? No. But damn it, I'm going to believe in them. The Hornets offense gives me a ton of confidence. Whereas in Orlando, their offensive unit has me a bit worried about where they can find their offensive rhythm. That being said, in years prior, we were able to trust that Magic defense. This year has been the opposite. Maybe with their backs against the wall, the Magic could get back to their defensive identity from years prior. However, I believe Charlotte will find a way to win this game and get that first round matchup we want against Detroit. And just like with the Miami Heat, the Magic will have to spend the whole summer figuring out what's the best move to optimize this current core. Switching over to the Western Conference side of the play-in, in the 7th and 8th matchup game, we have the Suns and the Blazers. On paper, this is going to be a good game because you have two scrappy teams, two squads who have surpassed expectations on the year. Ultimately, I'm going to lean with the Phoenix Suns, and I get why people will be a bit reserved. Down the stretch, they did not close the season out well, But keep in mind, they had a ton of injuries. Dylan Brooks just came back from a fractured hand. In this game, he should be able to give them a spark, especially on the defensive end, guarding Denny. And then ultimately, what made me stick with the Suns was D-Book. I believe in Devin Booker's ability to carry this team over the hurdle and get them into a first round matchup with the San Antonio Spurs. On to the 9 and 10 matchup, we have my Clippers going against the Golden State Warriors. As your resident Clipper fan, I'm going to keep it a buck 50 with you guys. I'm very worried about this game. I have a healthy level of fear and great respect for Steph Curry, especially in a one-game scenario when he could give you a 30 ball, maybe a 40 piece, maybe even a 50 burger. I'm greatly worried about the Clippers' ability to contain or at the bare minimum slow down Steph. That being said, Kawhi Leonard is equally as dangerous as Stephen Curry. During his Clipper tenure, when he's been healthy and it matters most, he shows up for the moment. I believe he could do that once again on Wednesday night, but my biggest concern is whether or not anyone else on this team is going to be able to join him. Darius Garland down the stretch was on a bit of a cold streak, and in regards to our bench, I'm not sure who's going to be able to give us a spark to take us home. That sentiment being shared, I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors despite how much it pains me to say this on camera. Steph Curry is a bona fide legend, bona fide Hall of Famer, because he's an elite shooter and elite scorer. And one of the main concerns I've had for the Clippers was the fact that down the stretch, we have been up and down on the defensive end. If that continues to be the theme on Wednesday night, it's going to be a long night for us. And to wrap up play-in Dom picks, if I am correct, if the winner-take-all matchup out west is between the Blazers and the Warriors, we're in for a hell of a battle. Looking at Portland, as I've already mentioned, scrappy team. I would not be surprised if the tenacity they show on the defensive end gives the Golden State Warriors offense fits. Steph is elite, and despite the defensive coverages we've seen thrown at him during the course of his career, time and time again, he's figured out a way to still get his. If you told me you were taking Golden State, I wouldn't be mad at it, because in a single game, everything on the line, I would rock with Steph Curry too. He's shown why we should pick him, but I'm taking the Portland Trail Blazers. This team has outperformed expectations. I thought, if anything, they were going to be in the 9-10 matchup. They showed why we should put some more respect on them. Although, in the moment, I was salty about Denny and his ability to get to the free throw line. I'm not going to take anything away from him. That brother can hoop, and I believe he's going to give that Golden State defense some fits. Their defensive prowess should be their advantage in this matchup and help set up an intriguing first-round matchup between them and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's going to do it for me. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video. Make sure you hit that like button. Comment down below your predictions for the play-in tournament. I'm curious to see where we differ. Also, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.